after the second one.
Yes. Yeah. But the day and a half reaction isn't bad. So, you know, it passed.
Right, here, and my friend Ben Rosenzweig is joining us from audio. Ben and I went to grammar school together.
Oh, wow.
Grammar school. That was a long time ago.
Way back.
Yes. There aren't many people I know from grammar school still but Ben is one of them. So Ben, thanks for listening. I see you're connected by audio. And we have Alex Lombardo, who's visiting us from Virginia, one of our donors and supporters who gave to this cause and like the rest of us are just sort of eager to hear what the status of things are. So we can start talking because if people join in later, they can join in. I'm going to ask the same questions of both of you, Navneet and Aditya. So I think I should introduce you, I guess would be nice, so that our guests know who you are. So Navneet is the founder and executive director of Dharavi Diary, which is in Mumbai, the largest slum, one of the largest slums in Asia. And Dharavi Diary provides computer literacy, coding, and STEM programs to children, and particularly girls, during normal non-COVID times. And Aditya is the director and programs and partnerships at Bal Ashram Trust. Bal Ashram is a rehabilitation and training center for children and youth at risk of child labor, victims of child labor. And they've also, in recent years, have expanded their mission to empowering the Banjara community, which is a traditionally roaming tribe that didn't really focus on education in a formal way because they were roaming around the country. But Bal Ashram has introduced them to the idea of settling down and having schools where their children can attend regular schooling. And so that's what you do during normal times. But of course, during COVID, you've had to change your mission a bit and expand your work. So the two questions maybe you can address is once is, what have you done when COVID arrived? How did you change your work and your mission to add that? And then how are things right now? Because obviously we're all reading in the news, the updates, and we're all sort of curious about what's the status right now. So, so sort of what are you doing for COVID, and then how are things today? And let's see, Navneet, can you hear, do we have a good connection now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay,
yeah.
So why don't we start with you? You're in Mumbai and Dharavi, and so tell us how you, Dharavi Diary, what you've been doing COVID that is beyond your regular scope, and then how are things today?
Yeah, hi. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Yeah, so during this pandemic, we first noticed a lot of kids whose parents worked in the informal sector. Like they used to work as house help, they used to work in like as a taxi driver, daily wage workers and all that. So as the pandemic started, a lot of them lost their jobs in the beginning. And in last 6.5 years of my work with this community, I've never felt that kind of desperation, because they are very hardworking community, and they always like never asked for help for food, and we used to help them, the kids, with education, school fees, college fees, and giving like educational kits and pro. But during this pandemic, whatever little the saving they had, they lost all the saving in the first few months, and then they had nothing. There was no support from the government. A lot of them don't have the government IDs, so they couldn't avail a lot of those facilities. So as the COVID started, so we started to help with them supplies of ration, dry groceries for 3 months in the beginning. and then also training them to do like survey, involve the youngsters who were part of our program to do community work. And that ways we kind of engage them to do the survey, go in the community, did lot of webinars, give them digital tools with the help of Go campaign, and different uh, community people, friends and family donated. So we got devices, we gave and did workshop with the parents to engage them. Lot of domestic violence and those cases started because of the houses are teeny tiny and everyone was, and that's the scenario now again during the second wave of this pandemic. And right now what is happening, there is no testing happening on the ground. The same kind of desperation for food is happening. Lot of, so we are engaging them. We have got counselors on board who are kind of doing workshops, and we are also providing them with the dry rations during these days. And we are trying to set up a community clinic. So we are writing grant proposals because nothing is being done on the ground for testing, proper testing of it. Proper vaccination is also, and people are fearing to go to nearby government hospital because it's super crowded. And a lot of cases has happened that few people went to the hospital, government hospital, and they fell sick, and then they died of COVID because of the infection, because not proper care is being taken in this government hospital. It is so super crowded. And so a lot of that kind of anxiety is happening, and monsoon is pretty much very close. And monsoon is the worst month for Mumbai slums and Mumbai especially. So a lot of those kind of things we are trying to address in the coming months, setting up a like a community kitchen also, where we can provide food, people who don't have access to like uh, like gas to cook at home. So we are trying to set up that also, and families who can afford to cook. So we have been providing Go campaign and people support to do that. And we are trying to get testing also in the community, convincing them and involving, giving them educational kits so that they can do worksheets. And we have a van which is going in the community, distributing this worksheet along with the dry ration and food which we have right now to engage. So far in last 1.5 months, we have distributed close to 450 kits and educational kits also to families, and it caters to close to 600 kids, and I would say close to like 400 adults, yeah, together. So that's how we have been kind of doing. But there's a lot of requests for dry rations still, and medical aids. So we have been giving them vitamin supplements. We have been distributing medicines in the community also, getting checked BP, and if somebody had like diabetes and all. So we are trying to bring doctors also, and setting up a kind of a community clinic in a local school. We are talking with them, or any like any temple or church where the doctor can come twice a day for a few hours and kind of address these guys. Because the doctors who used to come earlier in the community, they have stopped because they are fearing that this neighborhood has a lot of cases, so they might catch. So that's what is also. So on like food and health, these are the two priorities. And since the monsoon is, and convincing them that they should go for, ask the local politicians also to do camping for corona testing and also vaccination. But nothing has been done so far. So we have thought of to set up our own, requesting with the government, like if they can help us to do the vaccination so that we can make their work easier, like very community-centric kind of approach. So we are trying that as of now. So, and the grant from the Go campaign has been very, like very on the time, so that we can serve so many families in the present time. So thank you everyone for making it possible. And yeah.
We're glad we could help. There's obviously a lot of challenges that you're tackling at once. So we're glad we were able to step in and help a little bit. Aditya, you're in a more rural region, and so it'll be interesting to sort of hear your point of view and hear what how it's been affecting Bal Ashram now.
Yeah, thanks, Scott, and I hope I'm audible.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. And I would just start with congratulating Navneet ji. Thanks, we met virtually today. Really great endeavor at Mumbai. So yeah, the challenge at Bal Ashram, I mean, for COVID-19, the many challenges remain same throughout the nation. But when I talk about Bal Ashram and especially the Banjaras, it changed a bit because of the rural area. So like at Overall Trust, we have started few new things this year. Like there is a risk that both the parents, I mean, in many cases, both the parents are losing their lives. So children are becoming orphan. So like we are working on providing shelters to them and then planning that how they will be supported in the future. There are many cases where the main earning member of the family is losing life because of this. So we are also planning that how we can support that. So these are the new things that has started, but I would like to tell you a few of the things that when actually this infection started last year, and we started taking some of the preventive precautions from end of February 2020. I was going through some of the news and a group of volunteers from Taiwan, I was having a call with them, and somewhere they shared that such kind of infection is happening over in China. So honestly speaking, I did not have a lot of information about SARS-CoV, about SARS, the earlier infection which was, but they shared their experiences, and that was very helpful for us to learn a lot of preventive measures that what all can be done. And yeah, with the whole of the team, we started a bit early, which was very helpful. So it started we actually changed our, we had to change some of the operations of the program. We were running education center for children. Approximately 180 plus children were taking non-formal educations from with and getting midday meal every day. Proper rehabilitation of their families were also into the process. But things has to come to a pause because the social gathering and all these were not allowed. So suddenly the first thing what we started was that target was to aware the people, because Banjara had two major problems. First, since they were nomads, so none of their generation were ever literate and ever had been to a school, not knowing about the basics of the hygiene even. Even honestly speaking, then most of the women not just most, but I can say that all of the women, they never used sanitary napkins and all. So if I use the word illiteracy, then this illiteracy not just defines the not being knowledgeable about the words, but not being knowledgeable about many other things, what happens into a normal society. So it started from there, you know. So we had to go for a mass awareness generation. We provided a training to our teachers who are working in the community, that how you have to teach the people like how one has to wash the hands, and then using the mask is important, telling the people that why using the mask is important. The major challenge was that most of these Banjara men and women are the daily wages laborer. So they had to go outside to earn their livelihood, and they were working in unhygienic environment, because the people over there, I mean, there are other laborers also, and they are not using those masks and all. So this was the challenge, but thankfully, I'm so thankful to my teachers. They did a lot of efforts, and we were able to manage that. After that, nation forced the lockdown, and definitely the challenge of food became a major thing. So for continuous 4 months, we supported approximately 210 family. So on an average, we count it is almost like 5 people in a family. That I'm counting on a normal scale. So almost 1,000 people were, including children, fed for continuous 4 months. And a regular visit by our teacher was there. We provided this infrared thermometers, so their temperatures could be recorded. We consulted A&M to the local health center by the government. So there's a primary health center and there's a community health center. That's a government provided kind of hospitals. So we reached out to these centers. There's a position, particularly A&M, which in easy words, we can call her a sister. So a sister was requested from the hospital. She was called to this community. Women's were checked. And then, the adults and girls, they were all provided the education about the basic hygienes and the menstrual hygiene. So all these things were there. And then we provided sanitizers, we provided masks, and then we provided not just 1 or 2 time mask, we had to provide continuously. So good thing that in Bal Ashram campus, we have a vocational training for boys, where these boys who are above 14 years of age, they learn tailoring and other kind of works. So these boys, along with the trainer, they started stitching masks because the market was closed and there was much scarcity, so a mask which cost around 5 rupees, that was being sold at a price of 40 or 50 rupees in the black market. And even it was not available. The dry ration was also sold at a much higher price. But fortunately, since we already have a vendor who had been supplying to our ashram, so we reached him and we asked that please provide us food. And there are people hungry. And then I reached to some of the district government officials. They contacted me with the government vendors, and we were able to get the ration to these people. And then there came the major challenge that people lose their jobs because most of this construction work and other work were stopped. People were requested not to go out and stay back. So again, we have to change ourselves. We had to give some new updations to our program that now just, like running the normal classes is not going to help this community anymore. There was a risk that, again, these families would migrate from that community in search of work. And again, their children will lose the school. And there are heavy chances that they will be trafficked. Because just now when the lockdown started unlocking and nation was getting open, there was a huge surge in child trafficking and in human trafficking, if I include. And that included everything. That included trafficking of boys and girls, and in all the sector. That was for labor, that was for prostitution, that was for sending the children overseas, as well as organ trafficking was there. So we requested our teachers and everyone, like we had a joint meeting, and we decided that we are not going to open the school as it was, like we are not going to start the classes as they were running in the normal shape, but we are not going to stop our people from going to the community. So a door-to-door classroom will begin, and we will reach out to children at their houses, and we will the midday meal which we used to provide earlier in the classroom. Now that was changed into shape of some nutritious dry rations, like providing some protein-rich pulses, peanuts, health drinks, and milk packets, dry milk packets, powder that we provided. And we ensured that we should reach to the local legislator, and we can request them that please enroll these Banjara people with the government schemes and provide them food, jobs, and other facilities what we can provide. So, I'm glad to share that I just made a note. I hope there are 10 schemes by the state and the central government. And one is that the Prime Minister House scheme. 3 families were connected with that. 5 new labor card was made for 5 families. All the families were enrolled to make this Aadhaar card, which is like social security number in US. 32 families were connected with food scheme. There's a health scheme in the state of Rajasthan that we call Chief Minister Chiranjeevi Health Insurance Scheme, because none of these families have insurance. So 50 families were newly connected with that, and we ensured that all these families get this health insurance, and the rest of the families are into the process. There's a social security pension for the widows and for the senior citizens. So 10 people were connected with that. And there's a scheme called Palanhar, which is for a single parent scheme. So suppose the man is unfortunately no more. So 6 children were connected with that. And 45 new families were connected with this, the local employment, which I told. And then the major challenge was that these women had to go to the jungles in search of livestock. So they could bring some woods and burn them to make their food. So we connected almost all the families with the Ujjwala scheme. Ujjwala scheme is one of the newly scheme launched by Government of India recently, which provides domestic gas connection for families to use that gas as fuel. So these much of things were done. And the most important thing what was done, that a regular connection with the family was not broken. The connection what we had established in recent years. And now, since it was a year of high time when almost many of our children were going to school. More than 87 children were enrolled in government school. They were supposed to give their high school exams and other 6, 7 standard exams. Well, they were on the risk of getting withdrawn from the education. That was maintained. And the biggest thing, I'm glad to share that because of so much of preventive care and awareness, what has came into Banjaras as well. There were no any single cases reported in all these 5 communities among 1,000 people, which is the biggest achievement I can say.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And I just pray to everyone that, yeah,
that's great.
May they be safe. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for that update. I'll ask you just each of you one more. I have one question for each of you, and then if anyone else wants to ask a question, you can start thinking of what it is, or you don't have to ask any questions. But now, Neet, I read an article this morning that Dharavi has responded really well. It was praising Dharavi and the slum community for responding really well to the COVID crisis and saying that the community had learned a lot of lessons from the first earlier waves, and that contrary to people's fears, that everyone in the community is really doing a great job. Like, things are cleaner, they're banding together and really focusing on prevention, and that the cases, although you had a very terrible month of April, that the past couple of weeks, the numbers have gone way down in Dharavi, and it was really encouraging to see that the community is just doing a really great job. And so, are you feeling that hope? Do you feel like things are moving ahead in the right direction now? And sort of what's your temperature on that right now?
Yeah, things are much more better what it was in April, beginning of April, and for sure. But I am apprehensive about once the monsoon will start, because of the rains. So we are kind of engaging our young change makers. These youngsters are telling the government agencies like BMC or workers like BMC is municipal corporation to clean the sewers, trying to do all those, as you said, a lot of it's better. So yeah, it's the families who are taking care of their families. but they don't have the resources and the bandwidth to solve the problem at large. So a lot of youth groups, what we have formed, they are kind of engaging with these policymakers to do this kind of intervention. So things are really encouraging, but there's a lot to be done in terms of food supplies and health for the coming months, because this wave, yes, it has gone down certainly, but people are saying that the third wave will be maximum affecting the youngsters, which might come during or towards the end of monsoon, because monsoons will really a lot of cases of uh, like malaria, fever, and all those issues will. So we are trying. We have to be prepared for that, and um, we are trying to engage with the policymakers that if they can do something, start the community health cleaning and stuff like that. But yes, certainly it's much more better than what it was. And but I would also say that the testing is not happening on the ground, and vaccination is the only answer, which everybody has to understand and increase the number of that's what I would say. That's the only thing which can really bring a lot of impact in the community.
Thank you. Yeah, there's still, so things are looking better, but the challenge is ahead, especially with the monsoon season coming.
Yes.
And I think we just lost Aditya for a moment. Does anyone have any questions for Navneet and what's going on in Dharavi and Mumbai while we wait for Aditya to see if he returns? Just raise your hand if you had a question, and if not, no worries. Navneet, are you so are you trying to raise funds now mostly for which of your objectives? Is it for food still? Is this sort of your greatest
food
or something else?
Food is one of the most important, and the second is medical aid, like setting up a small medical kind of a facility where community people can avail the facilities. And if things go really critical, getting oxygen cylinders and concentrators, if things like that come up. And then also simultaneously get people more and people more get vaccinated. So these are the three things on health front. And food is always important because still people are not going back to the work, and the lockdown is going to continue. That's what we can sense. Yeah.
Did any of the children who attend Dharavi Diary, were their families affected by the corona?
Yes. Yeah. In the first phase, we had two students whose parents, one of the kids' parents, she lost her father in that, and the second one, they recovered from it. And in the second wave, we had two youngsters who got affected by this, but they are now fine with everything. Yeah. So yeah, but we are trying every day. We do a kind of a temperature. We do a lot of orientation with kids so that they can keep an eye on if somebody is having, how to go about it, and keep themselves safe and their family members. Yeah.
And when you walk out through the streets, is everyone masked up? And
yes, not really that much, but we are kind of trying to engage the community to use masks and all that. And again, tomorrow, like this festivity, religious, all that, we need to kind of keep a check. Even the government is also taking like people should not gather and all that. So yeah, we are kind of supplying with the sanitizer, masks, and taking care of. So yeah, but it's much more better. Yeah, what it was in April.
Yeah, the religious ceremonies posed a problem for, they sort of became super spreader events, right? Before this current wave.
Yes, yeah.
So it's a lot of education about masks and prevention.
Yeah.
Scott, I had a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Navneet, this is Alex. With the lockdown, are you still able to do the STEAM labs or the educational programs, or are those all shut down for now?
Yeah, hi Alex. No, we are able to do, but not at that scale, which we used to do. So we have this van which goes in the community and give our facilitators goes with worksheets and give them some kind of a task. And in next couple of days, again, collect those worksheets, give them fresh worksheets and something hands-on and give them which is available in the community so they can do. But it's not that scale which we used to do before. Yeah, so that even still at our center, we have like in part, like we are bringing the kids, but not all of 200 kids which used to come before this lockdown. They're coming in batches, like 50 at a time for 3 hours. And then they go back and then 50 of them next batch comes. So we are following that so that we can not super crowded and trying to go with masking, checking their temperature, checking their oxygen level and all that. So we are following, trying to engage, and the van is going in the community also doing a lot of temperature checking and oxygen when we go from home to home. So our STEAM workshops are still going at a low profile, but we are engaging also STEAM with H also is now health is also integral. And this COVID has taught us that should be the most priority. Health and education should be the priority of any country if they want to develop. And especially for this community, because they don't have much savings. And if they fall sick, then that is completely back-breaking. So only health and proper education can make them go to the next level and be better than their parents. So I think we need to continue. So we are still continuing, but not at that scale. But hopefully, yeah, we will get, slowly and slowly how to make it better. We are kind of improvising, making things better as we go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Aditya, we have you back. So congratulations on protecting the Banjara from COVID. I mean, that's a great accomplishment. But of course, we read in the news that in the rural areas, it's really can be the most scary because there's the lack of medical treatment should COVID enter. And so it is sort of what you're doing is really important because they're not in a big city where they could even have a chance at getting oxygen and some of the other things that are needed. So are you feeling hopeful that the Banjara will be able to continue to escape COVID or how do you see the near future?
Well, I pray that they escape, but I think it is very unpredictable. I mean, it is unpredictable to predict anything right now. All we can do is we are trying our best, because what happened that recently, I hope you would have read, there was a big religious ceremony in India, which we called Kumbh, that people go to take the holy dip into the river Ganges. And so most of the people had been there, and now when they return to villages, and even when recently the reverse migration from the cities happened, so the cases in the rural India have been growing, no doubt. And every day, like every morning when we have the team calls from our other programs as well, where we work directly in the villages and helping them to become child-friendly village, there I get to know that many people in the villages are getting affected from this. There have been few unfortunate deaths as well. And yes, the village level health system is very, very, is a area of concern, and is definitely not as good as of the cities. Even what we have started, that we have an ambulance in Ashram. So we have recently purchased few oxygen cylinders, and like since children are also there, and we had one, but we had to purchase more, that suppose if there is any need, at least we can provide our own ambulance and oxygen to the people in villages and in communities. All as of now, I can say that we are continuing to send our teachers in the villages. Our target is to get them vaccinated by before end of this year, but as the lack of vaccines is there, so I mean it's too early to say, but I hope we will get it. So but a good thing is that somehow we have been able to get the pregnant women in the community vaccinated. We have completed that recently. So these are the two things that we will continue sending our person to the villages, definitely by taking all the protection. I mean, and that sending the person, that means that a connection, a direct connection will be there. Awareness will be there. A check on the health and preventive measures will be there. This door-to-door education means providing books, stationeries, a kind of homework things to the children will be there. And the main target will be that all these community people get their both the vaccine doses as soon as possible. But looking after the health situation in India, I hope that this will somehow happen by the end of this year. Because, you know, it reaches to villages almost at the last stage. And so, like, the big cities are first, then second tier cities, and then definitely these towns come in. And since these nomadics, I mean the Banjaras, these are the most ignorant communities in India, even in that area. The local villagers also dislike them because there is a threat that when these people will settle on the land, it will belong to them someday. They will encroach it. But unfortunately, it is not like that. So they're also our citizens, and we should definitely respect them and provide them the basic human rights what they have, and for their children and families. So a kind of discrimination is also there. But I hope with all the efforts we are making, and the brave efforts what Banjaras also doing, because they are also understanding the importance of the suggestions what is being given by our local teachers in their local languages. So yeah, together we will make it happen, and I hope they all will be safe. There will be no any unfortunate casualty, and we will be able to get them vaccinated. To all of them, I mean, adults, children, and seniors, everyone.
Well, you're both doing a great job in this time of crisis, and really doing tremendous work. And so it's very encouraging to hear about your efforts. And does anyone else have any other questions that they wanted to ask of either of our heroes? If not, I'll just say thank you for your time, and just know that we're all thinking about you and sending you our thoughts and prayers. And we obviously want to be in close touch with you to hear about the situation as it changes on the ground. And I know Michelle will be talking to you regularly, and we're all very eager for updates, and hopefully they will all be more and more positive updates because of the work that you're both doing in both your organizations. So please send everybody our regards, and let them know that we're thinking about them.
Thanks, Scott. I would just finish by saying a line. Though I had taken actually some photos, I wish I could show to you if we are running out of time. So I'll just finish up by the line that, you know, had you and everyone over this call and the Go family, if you would have not supported at this critical time, I cannot imagine about the losses. If I say the massacre that would have happened actually. There was no one to support these people. And the present situation, even I'm afraid of watching the news every day. So I just, honestly speaking, I try to escape away the way this Indian media is reporting. So I don't know what would have happened, but thank you. Somewhere I mean, yeah, it is you all who had actually helped them, not just to get educated, but finally to save their lives from this COVID as well. Thank you.
We're honored to be working alongside with you, so thank you. And Navneet, good luck with your efforts in Dharavi, and we look forward to hopefully the trend continues, and I hope the monsoon season isn't a problem, and that you all make it through well and healthy and safe.
Thank you everyone at Go Family, and thank you for giving us a chance to share, and we will keep you updated. Yeah, it's a long way, but I'm hopeful, and we all are hopeful, and youngsters are hopeful that we will sail across. And yeah, thank you for thinking about all of us. And thank you for all the support. Yeah.
Thank you. And Alex and Ben, thank you for joining us and for your support. As always, really appreciate it. I know you both are, Ben's a big fan of India, and I know you and Alex as well have been great supporters. So thank you both for taking the time, and we appreciate it. Good to see you both.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great
Thank
day.
You.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.